It's just that easy.
I wish.
This guy's a Hall of Famer. Don't let it fool you.
All right.
Matt is back, ladies and gentlemen.
How's it going, everybody? It's kind of cheating though. I've thrown this ball like 10 games already.
Well,
so I
mean,
have a pretty good idea what it does.
So we actually have you on the correct staff video.
We
today,
do,
which is great. Hammer, it's
baby.
a hammer.
Hammer, baby.
What are some like pieces people, you know, should replace in their bag with this one? Like, what's something that you know, if it is older or just has lost its touch, that this could absolutely replace?
If you're in the hammer brand, I would say the Envy. This is definitely the replacement for it. This one seems to be covered, seems to be a little bit stronger, but it actually has a little more motion down lane, which you don't see too often with bigger ASIM solids. I'm not saying it trucks off the back end, but it doesn't puke at the same time. So where the Envy tends to want to go super forward, this Extreme Envy doesn't do that, which is nice. So it gives you a little more lane to play with, blends out the patterns a little bit, so definitely usable on house for sure. Missed that one in a little, but you still see, I mean, it still picks up, still gets through the pins. I mean, that's kind of what you're looking at as a league bowler, needing something bigger for all the heavy oil that they put up front nowadays. So definitely like this piece. As much as I've thrown it on 2 different house shots already, and games out of the box 250, 270. So ball kind of speaks for itself. That's pointed right there.
That annihilated the 10th in there.
Yeah, and like I said, you don't see that too often with bigger ASIMs like that, unless they're super fresh and there's a lot of oil up front. But with this one, I even noticed like game 2 with some carry down, the ball still had enough to get the corners out, which is nice. Game 3, different story obviously, but game 1, 2, ball out of the box, really good.
And how do you have this one laid out? Is it kind of a standard layout? Or is
no, stuffing I've been doing a little more now. I'm not doing such longer pins, like 4-inch pins, 4.5, 5. Now I'm into the 3, 3.5, 4 at the most, just because my ball roll, I'm around it a little bit more, so I need stuff to slow down. So I'm going with the shorter pins. So this one's a 3-inch pin down, lets me get on it a little bit, and it still doesn't over jump on the pattern, so it's nice. As you can see, ball has plenty of energy.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it?
That's better. Woo! You see, that one's actually a little bit slower than the Extreme Envy, and that one has HK22 on it, so it's just making that one get down the lane more. And I think because I have a lot more games on that, it's just a little lazier down lane. But I think these balls are pretty comparable. I think if you wanted something like the Brutal, but you can't get any more yours older, Extreme Envy for sure. As you can see, ball still rolls pretty good, but for the Extreme Envy is actually cornering a little bit more. But like I said, newer cover, and that one's probably got 70, 80 games on it compared to that one has 10. So you would imagine if I had that fresh out of the box, I basically think they're the same ball.
All right, Matt, what are your final thoughts on that Extreme Envy there?
So the Extreme Envy, I've gotten to throw it quite a bit because I've had it for a couple weeks. I've got about 10, 12 games on it, give or take. And this ball impressed me quite a bit. I went a 3-inch pin, so it was a little more usable for me, but most people could probably do 4, 4.5. But I can use it on house for a couple of games, which is nice. Like I can even move left, get a little deeper, and it still gets through the pins. By about game 3, when you start losing oil up front, is when it kind of seeds its weakness, that it's not getting through the fronts too long. But the fact that I can use it for 2 games in league and it holds up is nice. I figure on patterns, you're gonna be able to get 4 or 5 games deep with it, because patterns have a lot more volume up front, a little cleaner down lane, so it's gonna take a while for it to not become in play. So that's what I think of it, and I absolutely think this thing is fire. Absolutely fire, should be in your bag. If you're looking to replace a big ASIM solid, this is definitely the ball to replace it with.
Don't look so confused. This is scheduled, dog.
This is true. Definitely one of the tougher centers here, I'm telling you that.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Yes, we're throwing the extreme envy.
Extreme envy.
And you have yours drilled pinned down.
Pinned down. 70 by 5 by 55, I think it is. Something a little smoother, more controllable.
Rich, if you were to put this in your bag, like as far as like a rating or hook rating, you know, in comparison to some of your other balls that you have, where does it fall, do you think?
Overall strength, I'd put it probably closer to like an 8. A bit of flare. Yeah. Definitely digging the colors. Definitely digging the colors.
Yeah, you got a nicely dipped ball.
This one I'm gonna get up back a little bit.
Which do you assume is going to be stronger?
I think characteristics of the ball. The Hellcat's going to be a little bit earlier, a little bit more rounded.
Bowling's that easy.
Had a bubble in my slide hole.
So the Hellcat's using its energy in the front part of the lane.
More in the middle part of the lane, yeah.
And the Envy Tour is not, which allows it to snap harder in the back?
Correct. Just conserve more energy for down lane. Try to throw this in that same spot. That ball likes to hook.
Well, that's good for someone like me.
Who needs it?
I think we were good with that one.
That was pretty solid.
So would you use that on, like, let's just say your typical house shot, you know, or would you more likely use that on like pattern play?
Depending on the amount of volume that you have on a house shot, I think it's going to be really good, especially for guys that like to move in and see more shape down lane. That would be more of a choice than like a heavy oil ball. So far, I haven't seen it slow down yet.
All right, Rich, give us your final thoughts on the Extreme Envy.
Final thoughts, Extreme Envy. It's a ball that gives me shape, allows me to move left, get around it. Still goes through the pins like a freight train. This ball is, it's definitely the nuts. This is going to give you something that you haven't seen from the Hammer brands in quite some time. Something that reads the mid lane, makes the corner, and then just goes out with a bang. So, solid.
Extreme Envy on burned up shots. He was trying to pick up, but it's just so much down lane, so much carry down, it's not really going to get around unless I get it outside more, and then we might see a little bit too much reaction out of it.
Yeah, this is not ideal conditions.
It's ideal for shot making.
How good is Fitz really?
Maybe 75% right now. got to shape. A little late, a little weak. It's a big core, big ball. Kind of burned up before it ever gets to the pins.
I asked Matt and Rich this earlier, but do you think that the Extreme Envy hooks more or less than like anticipated when looking at like some numbers, or you know, just kind of what it's designed?
You know, I think it hooks about the same overall than what I expected it to. It's just where it hooks and what it does is the difference to me. I expected it to be real early roll without a whole lot of back end at all, just being a real big aggressive ball, just kind of for your heavy volumes, whatever. Gets to the fronts a little bit better than I expected it to, and it does have a little bit of shape, you know, more shape down lane than I thought, but it's not quite for me the shape that I was, you know, really kind of hoping out of it. So maybe, you know, if I get another one, I'll try a different layout. Maybe go pin down with it to be able to get to continue a little bit more. But you know, for right now, just gonna see if we can find a spot in the bag for it. Boom. Sometimes I know what I'm doing.
You are actively doing well in regional tour stops, and you bowled on the national tour this year.
I gave a shot at it, that's for sure. It was an experience. If you have the opportunity, I recommend doing so, but know what you're getting into. It is much different than I anticipated it to be, and obviously very costly. So get yourself in a good spot, go out there and, you know, learn. That's what I pretty much did, and we'll see what the future holds for that.
Yes, sir.
Little inside, caught the carry down. Still rolled though. So you can see that cover stock still wants to read some. So the GB4 hybrid, same shot. I'm gonna throw the same line so you can actually see where it reads differently and how finished is compared to the Extreme Envy. I expect it to actually react to the friction a little bit faster, but then it's gonna be a little bit more forward roll down lane. So, same spot, same line. See, actually, well, possibly just a hair longer before I tried rolling, but you can saw it doesn't have the back end motion that the Envy does. So we'll do another shot with that. I'm gonna see if I slow it down and get around it. See if I can force that, but good comparison between the two. Obviously a big asymmetric solid versus a big symmetric hybrid. So cover stock's a little different, the cores should give me a different shape. There's that forward roll on that ball I was telling you about though. So you can definitely see if you want to get around the ball, the Envy does it more. If the shot's giving you a little bit more straighter to the right, I'd go with the GB4 hybrid on it.
All right, Fitz, final thoughts on the Extreme Envy?
It's a pretty good ball overall. I haven't quite figured out where I'm going to use it yet. I've only thrown it twice so far now, and now the conditions were conducive for the way I throw the ball with it, but I'm sure I can find a spot for it eventually, and when I do, it's going to be pretty good. So for me right now, I'm going to have to grade it just like a C+. It's a good ball, and you're going to get your money's worth out of it, but for what I'm looking for, what I do, not there just yet. But once I find that spot, it can go up to a B or an A, I'm sure. I've seen others throw it. Looks good for them. I haven't figured it out yet.